Story time about why I will never go Black Friday shopping ever again. So a little background information, I was 13 and in 8th grade. And my best friends and I were super excited because we'd never been Black Friday shopping before. So we had a plan that all of us would spend the night at my house and my mom would drive us to the mall at 4 in the morning. So fast forward, it's 4 in the morning and my friends and I are ready to go to the mall and my mom came with us, but we didn't stay with her the whole time. So as we were walking to the first store, we realized that there were these 3 guys behind us that have kind of been following us around since we got into the mall. But we just think it's a coincidence because, it's Black Friday, the mall is packed. There are obviously going to be people going the same exact way as us. So we go into the first store, we get what we want to get, and the men didn't follow us in there. But as we're making our way to the next store, we realized that they're following us again. It was like they waited outside the first store for us to come out. So then we decided that we were going to walk around one of the kiosks a few times to see if they were really following us. And of course they were, so we went into another store and they didn't follow us in that one either. So I go up to one of the workers and I asked if they could possibly call security or something because there are these guys following us, and she said, yeah, for part 2. Part 2 about why I will never go Black Friday shopping ever again. So like I said, my friends and I go into the one store and of course they don't follow us in there, so we ask an employee if they can call security. So whenever security got there, I told them that these guys had been following us around since we got into the mall. And then security's like, well, where's your mother? Acting like it was our fault that we could be kidnapped for not being with my mom. So after that, he's like, all right, just go find your mom, I'll talk to them. So I call my mom and I'm like, hey, where are you? Of course, she's on the whole other side of the mall. So my friends and I are going to meet her on the other side of the mall, and we look back to see if the security guard was talking to them, and literally the security guard just walked out of the store and went the complete opposite way. Then we walk up to the security guard and we're like, you didn't even talk to him. And then he turns around, rolls his eyes, goes over and starts talking to these guys. And then we continue to the store that my mom was at whenever we decided to stop at Starbucks to get something to drink. So after 10 minutes of waiting in line, we turn around and we see these guys standing at the end of the line just staring at us. So we get out of line and we decided to just go straight to the store that my mom was at. And when we got there, we told her what was going on. So she was like, okay, let me get these few things and then we can leave. For part 3. Part 3 about why I will never ever go Black Friday shopping ever again. So like I said, we got out of line and we went straight to the store that my mom was at, and she was like, okay, just let me get these few things and then we can leave. So we start walking towards the exit and then I'm like, Mom, they're still following us. So she turns around and she realizes they're literally standing 2 feet behind us. So we decided to go into one of the stores and we asked one of the employees if they could also call the head of security. And whenever head of security got there, she literally tore them a new you-know-what. After that, my mom tries to go and point out the guys and they're not standing there anymore. So they're like, well, what do you want us to do? And then my mom's like, well, you can walk us out to our car. So they walk us out to our car and then they stand there while we're getting in. My mom starts the car and she starts backing up and we literally run over something. And all of a sudden we hear screaming and moaning, and the security guards look under the car and literally one of the guys who was following us is literally laying under our cars with a knife. And as soon as that happened, there was literally a van parked right across from our car. The van drove away really fast, but the police ended up catching up to it and they found 8 girls in that van.
Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that she can't speak Japanese to my parents during Thanksgiving?
Probably.
I, male 35, have met my girlfriend, female 30, at work. We're both interpreters. We've been together for a few months, and Thanksgiving will be the first time she's going to meet my parents. I am half Japanese. My dad is Japanese. My mother is American. My mother learned Japanese so she can connect with my paternal side of my family. Me and my siblings all speak Japanese. However, none of my siblings' spouses do. My girlfriend, Sasha, started learning Japanese before it got popular. She started learning it when she was 14, has both a BA and an MA in Japanese and translation and interpreting.
Cool.
She sounds as close to a native speaker as possible.
Wow.
However, I warned her that she shouldn't try and speak Japanese when meeting my parents or grandparents, and that she's forbidden from using it, even when I'm using it with my siblings. What?
Rude.
She asked why, and I told her that I'd hate for my sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws to be uncomfortable because they don't speak it, and I don't want her to become my grandparents/parents' favorite because we've only been together a few months, and it wouldn't be fair if they liked her more than my sister-in-law of 10 years who doesn't speak Japanese.
I don't know if I feel like this is thoughtful or just fucked up.
The latter.
Yeah.
She said that's ridiculous and she shouldn't have to hide it.
Yeah.
I said that perhaps later when we've been together for longer. She asked if she had to pretend not to understand me and my siblings when we talk, and I said, exactly.
Oh!
She got really weird and went home. She's been kind of distant lately, and I told a friend about this, and they said I was a major asshole.
Yeah.
And if they ask her about her job, does she have to lie as well? I admit I hadn't thought of all that, but I still can't see that I did anything wrong.
What?
So am I the asshole for demanding she lies?
Yes. Weirdo.
I met this guy when I was in SHS, and this guy was a poor guy. He was in the final year of university by then, and I used to give him everything. This is not my story, by the way. It was sent to me on Instagram. Now, after SHS, I failed some of my papers and I had to write them again. My parents paid for my fees, but they didn't give me money for food in school. And there was this teacher who was interested in me and he gave me everything I wanted. And at this point, my boyfriend had finished university, but he had to stay home for a year before he got posted. I went to visit the teacher one day and I slept with him. I asked the teacher to stay away from me because I still loved my boyfriend and I didn't want to break up with him. Now, my phone got spoiled and my boyfriend came for the phone to go and have it repaired. One early morning, he called me with tears. He had read the messages between my teacher and I. I begged him to forgive me and he accepted me back. I completed and passed my exams very well, but I needed to work till next year before I started university. I got myself a job which paid very well. My boyfriend was also working, but he wasn't being paid much. And I gave this guy everything. I paid for his 2 years rent, I bought clothes for him and I fed him. I even gave him money for transportation to his workplace. I gave him money to pay his bills. I even bought airtime for him. When he started getting paid, this guy refused to give me even a peswa of his money. He always says he knows I have money. And because he has money now, he brings up what I did with my teacher in every conversation we have. And I even found out he also cheated and impregnated a lady who he claims was his friend. The lady had a miscarriage and I let the issue go. I forgave him. He keeps bringing up what I did. And I'm getting sick and tired of hearing it. At this point, I don't know what to do. And any advice will be very appreciated.
I think my wife cheated on me, but I have no proof. We're married less than a year, both in our mid-20s. She has concert tickets for Christmas. Naturally, I assume I'm going with her. Nope, she wants to take someone from work because he's supposedly a huge fan of the band. She also tells me he's gay. I'm upset, but I decide to not start a fight about it. She goes to the concert and they wait outside near the band bus after the show is over. The bassist from the band starts to talk to her and she flirts with him. He asks if she is going to their New Year's Eve show 200 miles away. She says no because she can't afford it. He said he'll comp her tickets if she comes. She said she won't go alone. He says she can bring a friend. Now our New Year's Eve plans are ruined because there's no way I can go too. She had joked before about having to sleep with the bassist for these tickets and VIP access. I did not find it funny, so she played it off. In the end, this is her favorite band, and I don't want her holding this over my head for the rest of our lives. So I let her make the decision herself. She decides to go with her friend from work, who she now says she's only 80% sure he's gay. She texts me on the long drive there, then when she gets the tickets, then nothing. I text her at midnight, she gives me a 3-word response. I don't hear from her again. I call her at 11:30 the next morning, and she says she is waiting at the subway station to go back to her hotel. She eventually gets home around 4:30 p.m. I asked her how it went. She says they partied all night, she took prescription drugs, and drank a lot. She said she was pissed she paid for a hotel when she only slept in it for 2 hours. I asked her how that was possible when she said she was at the subway at 11:30 a.m. She admits that she didn't use the hotel room at all, and that she must have slept in the band suite. What? She blames her amnesia on a hangover. Fast forward a day or so, she gets out of the shower. I notice she shaved her pubes. I asked her when she did it, and she says Friday. Here's the thing, my wife never shaves. When she does, it's a present for me. She left for work and I found a package of Summer Eve's feminine wipes in her overnight bag. Here's the other thing, I've always secretly thought she had an odor problem, but she's certainly never done anything about it for me. This was a brand new pack. Why did she have them? So, what do you think? Is she cheating with the bassist or the guy from work? Should I confront her about it?
Would I be the asshole for still planning to host Thanksgiving dinner while my wife is in the hospital? My wife and I are both in our mid-50s, and we usually host a family dinner for Thanksgiving. We have some friends coming over this year also. We planned a menu, I went down and got everything we needed, and I just took the turkey out of the freezer yesterday morning. A few hours later, she was admitted to the hospital, and is most likely not going to be home by Thursday. So I might have to do all the prep by myself, and all the cooking. I've done this before, of course, but it's much easier with help. Our daughter asked last night if I was still planning to have everyone over, and I said of course. Now she and her husband, both in their late 20s, are treating me as if I committed some kind of crime. My wife invited 2 of her friends who don't really have anywhere else to go to celebrate, and we don't want them to be alone. I also don't want the food to go to waste. And I love to eat, but none of this is just exactly casual weekend dining. My wife is having a fit because I'm considering making dinner instead of spending the day with her at the hospital. Visiting hours are only from noon to 6, and they only allow 1 visitor per day. My oldest daughter and her husband have offered to help, and so is my wife's son. So would I be the asshole with all these conflicting opinions on it?